Have you ever wondered about the lost chapters of Islamic intellectual history, schools of thought that once flourished but eventually faded? Today, we embark on a scholarly journey to explore one such profound, yet ultimately ephemeral, legal tradition, the Laythi School of Islamic Law. This exploration offers not just historical insight, but a deeper understanding of the dynamic evolution of fiqh, the very bedrock of Islamic jurisprudence. The Laythi school was an 8th century Sunni Islamic school of fiqh, founded by the illustrious scholar Al-Leith ibn Sa'd. Born in Egypt in 716 CE, 94 AH, to a family with Persian roots, Al-Leith quickly distinguished himself as a polymath. His early life was dedicated to an intense pursuit of knowledge, immersing himself in the burgeoning intellectual centers of his time. He became a towering figure in Egypt, renowned not only for his profound understanding of fiqh, but also for his mastery of hadith, history, and Arabic language. His intellectual prowess and deep piety earned him immense respect, making him the undisputed scholarly authority in his region. He was a contemporary of other foundational imams like Abu Hanifa and Malik, engaging in vibrant intellectual debates that shaped the future of Islamic law. Al-Leith's jurisprudence was characterized by a rigorous adherence to textual evidence and a discerning approach to legal sources. A notable and defining characteristic of his methodology was his rejection of the Maliki school's extensive use of the practice of the people of Medina, Amal al-Madina, as an independent source of law. This was not a dismissal of Medina's importance, but a scholarly critique of its elevation to a primary legal proof. He argued that while the practices of the Prophet's city held immense value, they were not always universally applicable or definitively traceable to the Prophet himself. Instead, Al-Leith prioritized the explicit texts of the Quran and the authentic Sunnah, prophetic tradition, alongside sound analogical reasoning, qiyas, and established consensus, ijma. His approach emphasized a direct engagement with primary sources, seeking to derive rulings with meticulous scholarly rigor. The intellectual exchanges between Al-Leith and Imam Malik were legendary, highlighting the vibrant scholarly discourse of the era. Their debates, particularly concerning the authority of Medina's custom, were not personal rivalries, but profound academic discussions on the very methodology of Islamic law. Al-Leith contended that while the Medinan practice was a strong indicator, it could not supersede a clear, authentic hadith. He believed that relying too heavily on regional custom risked introducing local variations that might diverge from the universal principles of Islam. This critical stance showcased Al-Leith's independent intellectual spirit and his commitment to a methodology grounded in universal textual proofs. His arguments forced other jurists to critically examine their own sources and methods, enriching the overall development of fiqh. The 8th century CE was a pivotal period for Islamic law, witnessing the emergence of diverse regional schools of thought. From Kufa to Basra, Medina to Syria and Egypt, scholars were grappling with the monumental task of systematizing Islamic teachings into coherent legal frameworks. Each region developed its own distinct methodologies, often influenced by local customs, available hadith collections, and the intellectual leanings of its leading jurists. The Laythi school, therefore, was not an isolated phenomenon, but an integral part of this dynamic intellectual landscape. It represented a distinct voice in the chorus of early fiqh, offering an alternative methodological paradigm. Understanding this context is crucial to appreciating the significance of Al-Leith's contributions and the challenges faced by nascent legal traditions in establishing their authority and continuity. Despite Al-Leith's immense scholarly stature, his school of thought disappeared shortly after his death in 791 CE, 175 AH. This rapid decline offers invaluable lessons on the complex dynamics of intellectual preservation and transmission. Several critical factors contributed to this unfortunate outcome, painting a poignant picture of how even brilliant traditions can fade without proper institutionalization. Firstly, Al-Leith did not prioritize the systematic compilation or dictation of his legal opinions. Unlike other imams who either personally authored extensive works or had dedicated students meticulously record their teachings, Al-Leith's approach was more oral and perhaps less focused on formal codification. This meant that much of his jurisprudence remained unwritten, making it incredibly difficult for future generations to access and propagate. The absence of a comprehensive written corpus proved to be a fatal flaw in the long run. Secondly, Al-Leith had relatively few students who rose to prominence as independent jurists capable of carrying on his legacy. The survival of any intellectual school heavily relies on a robust lineage of disciples who not only master the founder's teachings, but also adapt, expand, and defend them. Without a strong cohort of influential students, a school struggles to gain widespread acceptance and institutional footing. This lack of prominent successors meant that the Laythi school lacked the necessary intellectual infrastructure to popularize its methodology and rulings. While Al-Leith was revered, his individual brilliance was not effectively translated into a self-sustaining scholarly movement. The absence of a school, in the sense of a continuous evolving tradition rather than just a collection of one scholar's opinions, ultimately sealed its fate. The third and perhaps most decisive factor in the Laythi school's disappearance was the arrival of Imam al-Shafi'i in Egypt shortly after Al-Leith's death. Imam al-Shafi'i, d. 820 CE, was a revolutionary figure in Islamic jurisprudence, renowned for his groundbreaking work in Usul al-Fiqh, Principles of Islamic Law. His systematic approach provided a clear, coherent, and universally applicable methodology for deriving legal rulings, which was desperately needed at the time. Al-Shafi'i's methodology, which meticulously defined the hierarchy and application of legal sources, Quran, Sunnah, Ijma, Qiyas, offered a compelling alternative to the more regionally diverse and sometimes less systematized approaches of earlier schools. His arrival in Egypt, a major intellectual hub, provided fertile ground for his ideas to take root. The clarity and intellectual rigor of the Shafi'i school quickly resonated with scholars and students, leading to its rapid adoption and effectively eclipsing the less formalized Laythi tradition. Despite its disappearance as a distinct school, the Laythi tradition is far from irrelevant. Al-Leith ibn Sa'd's contributions remain a testament to the intellectual vibrancy and diversity of early Islamic thought. His critical engagement with established methodologies, particularly his nuanced critique of Medina's custom, pushed the boundaries of jurisprudential discourse. His opinions, though not compiled into a formal school, were often cited and respected by later jurists, demonstrating his lasting influence on individual scholars. The story of the Laythi school serves as a powerful case study for students of religious studies and Islamic history. It illustrates the crucial role of codification, pedagogical transmission, and institutional support in the survival of intellectual traditions. It reminds us that the survival of the fittest in the realm of ideas is not merely about intellectual brilliance, but also about effective dissemination and the establishment of a lasting scholarly infrastructure. The Laythi school, though brief in its institutional existence, offers profound insights into the formative period of Islamic law. Al-Leith ibn Sa'd was a scholar of immense caliber, whose independent thought and rigorous methodology enriched the intellectual landscape of his time. His school's eventual disappearance underscores the critical importance of systematic documentation and a robust lineage of disciples for the enduring legacy of any intellectual tradition. We encourage all students and enthusiasts of Islamic studies to delve deeper into the lives and works of these early imams, explore the nuances of their methodologies, understand the intellectual debates that shaped Islamic law, and appreciate the rich tapestry of scholarly endeavor that continues to inspire us today. What other forgotten schools of thought might hold similar lessons? Share your insights and continue this vital conversation in the comments below. Let us collectively strive to illuminate the often overlooked chapters of our intellectual heritage.